So here we are. We're back again over at Cadre. Thank you again, Evan, for letting us hang out here. Now let me give you a little update before I hand this back over to Evan again. Here's what we've done so far. We took that asparagus and we put it in a blender. Now here's the deal, guys. We've got a regular home blender. Let the soup cool down a bit before you put it in the blender. If you've got a Vitamix, which a lot of you guys do, you can just put it in hot and it works out fine. Either way, when you put your lid on, just make sure you've got a towel over the top. This is really important. Always use the towel. Every single chef has burned their hands because of these little spouts that pour out.
So Dave is messing this up on some level because look at the soup level. It goes across to Dave. It's at chest level. Soup level to Evan's head.
Yeah, you really should look at the height. There's a slight height discrepancy. Just like you can see, I was holding it up here. Do you see all these pans up here? Yeah, Chef Dave wouldn't have pans this high, but we've got an Evan-sized person, so it's perfect.
It's a midget kitchen.
Yeah, I'm like Evan times 3. It totally is fine in every manner. So we've got our asparagus soup that we put into a blender, and again, hot is okay into a Vitamix, or cold going into your home personal blender. Over here, we took that Creole Meunier sauce, and I just put it into a saucepan to kind of heat it up. You don't have to do this stage because we're going to be putting it into a saute pan to kind of cook it off. We've got our meatballs that got nice and cooked off. Although you'll notice 2 of them are missing, and I don't know how either. Quality control, guys, quality control. And then here we have our spinach, tomatoes, and mushrooms that we cooked off. And I added a little bit more of that Cajun seasoning over the top. And then last but not least, we've got the cornmeal polenta grits that we already made up. And so we're just going to finish it off. So I'll hand it over here. So let's start over on this end and just start off really, really, really nice and low on variable.
Step 1, check to make sure that your blender is not set on high before you turn it on.
Every chef checks. And the whole point of this soup, you guys, was just to make something that really highlighted how fresh the ingredient was. So we aren't putting anything else but salt, pepper, cream, and milk into this soup. And the butter. And we're just going to puree it on high. And normally what you want to do is you want to keep on blending until there's no little particles left in here. So you just want to keep it going. Once it's started up, you can take your towel off. But what you want to look for is you'll actually see some steam start to come out the top of it once it's cooked all the way through. Or you want to make sure in here that you don't see any particulate left. So I can still see some pieces kind of floating around if you go in there. And you want it just to keep going, and that'll give it a really, really, really smooth mouthfeel. And that's what's going to make it taste really like good and smooth in your mouth. So we've got our soup, and if you look inside here now, just beautiful, nice consistency. And then we're just going to put that, we're going to take this over here, and we're going to put it over into our saucepan, and we're just going to let it cook a little bit down. And we have that just on nice low heat. And we're going to let that cook a little bit, and that'll cook out a little bit more of that milk, and it'll help bring out more of that asparagus flavor. And then here, we've got our saute.
Every time.
Wrong
Every time.
So we've got our saute pan right here. And we're going to take our tray o balls, and we're just going to put our meatballs into our pan. If you don't have a pan that's this big, you can just use a saucepan or a stock pot or whatever. Totally fine. And guess what? It's okay if some of the drippings from this pan get into your other pan, because that's all fat and flavor. So again, we're kind of doing a play on Swedish meatballs. So we're going to let these, even though they're cooked and hot and fresh out of the oven, we're just going to put a little more caramelization on the whole part of the meatball. And then we're going to take, now you can use water if you want, or you can just take whatever white wine you have laying around. Either one totally works. And we're just going to deglaze a little bit that pan. But again, water works fine too. And we're going to mix those up a little bit. And we're going to take that Creole Meunier that we have, and this is the sauce that's in your kit.
What's it made out of?
So Creole Meunier is traditionally a pan sauce that's done with fish in Cajun cooking. And what we did is we actually did it with Worcestershire, cream, shallots, leeks, a little bit of cornstarch, Cajun seasoning, salt, pepper, fresh garlic. Yeah.
Great minds. We both did pan sauces for people.
Well, I feel like, this is where like all the flavor comes in, right? So we're gonna let that sauce kind of soak in with our meat. And again, you'll see where the inspiration kind of is for the Swedish meatballs, right? So this is gonna be kind of our own little fun Creole spin on.
Oop, Lauren's
meatballs.
Watching.
Hey, Lauren.
Hey, Lauren.
This is not vegan, Lauren. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I love you. And then over here, we're just gonna take our grits that we made, and you'll see they've gotten really nice and thick. So if they're too thick, you can just add a little bit of water. You can just add a little bit of water to them, and we're just gonna kind of scoop them back around again. So if they get too thick on you, you've already got all the seasoning, you've already got all the cream, you've already got all the stuff you need in there.
Well, especially like the longer they sit, the more they're prone to
gonna keep
seize.
thickening up.
Especially when you add cheese, it kind of compounds the whole thing,
Well,
right?
and if you guys, I don't know if you know this, but in World War II, they used cornmeal as a detonator. There you go, because it would expand slowly, and then it would bring it
Wow.
up. I know.
The more you know.
Slow time fuse. Okay, so we're just gonna mix that up a little bit. We're gonna put it back onto our heat. Over here. I almost did the wrong one again.
Telling you, man.
And then for this veg, you'll notice we just let that steam a little bit ago, just with the kind of moisture that was in the pan. So we still have these nice bigger pieces of spinach in here. And I took a little bit of that Cajun seasoning and a little bit more salt and pepper, and I put that on, and now there's no heat. We're just gonna give it a nice little toss, left-handed.
Not saying, just saying.
Just saying. And I'm gonna add just a touch more white wine or water to that sauce, kind of bring it back together again. But again, if you don't have white wine, water works great. Okay, so I think we're ready to go on our plating up. We're gonna mix up our grits again. One last little kind of spoonful here, just until you don't have any more moisture in your grits. It tastes so good.
That's the same size that's going in the kit. That's
yeah.
That's leftover worthy right there. if four people eat all those grits with the meatballs, it's gonna be nap time.
Well, it's hard to go to a farmer and be like, I want you to put 8 ounces or 6 ounces of cornmeal in.
And there's nothing wrong with some leftovers.
Leftovers are the best, man. Plus, you got the extra milk and cream. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go.
You can have grits and eggs for breakfast the next day.
Grits and anything.
Some cold meatballs.
Traditional New Orleans dish is called coubillon, which looks like court bouillon if you went to culinary school, but they call it coubillon.
Coubillon.
Grits, and it's coubillon and grillades. So we're gonna put our.
We were actually just talking about chicory coffee earlier today. Gotta have your Café du Monde.
And we're gonna just take a nice little stack of our mushrooms and spinach, and then we're gonna take some of these glorious meatballs right here. I'm just gonna stack a nice little bunch of meatballs on here, and then we're gonna just take a little bit of that pan sauce and just drizzle it at the top. There we go, guys. Here's dish number 1. I have a clean plate. And we also are including some beautiful microgreens, which we don't have right now. We'll just plop those microgreens right on top right there.
Is it from Scott?
From Scott.
I'm sure he's cutting furiously as we speak.
He's trimming away. And then over here we've got our soup. Our asparagus soup. And we're just gonna, now if you want to change the viscosity of it, if you want it a little bit thicker, I like a thin soup. I think it goes on your tongue better, but if you want it a little thicker, you can add a little plate it, guys. Don't forget to season your soup, salt and pepper. You can put some Cajun seasoning in if you want. You can just smell that fresh asparagus, man. It's so good. And then we also have, we're gonna have some, this is gonna be included in your kit. This is just a chili oil. We're just gonna take a little chili infused oil, and we use chilies from Savory Accents. They have a chili oil that's really great. And then again, you guys will have some gorgeous microgreens to plop on top. We're just gonna use some little Italian parsley there. So there you go, guys. Those are our 2 dishes that we have for this week's Nom 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 box. They got some
That looks
Cajun
great.
style Swedish meatballs, some 3-year cheddar grits, wilted greens and mushrooms and tomatoes, and then an asparagus bisque with chili oil and fresh greens. So, hope you guys enjoy. It's gonna be yummy. Thank you, man, for having me over.
My pleasure.
Okay, everyone say bye, Evan. Say bye.
Bye.